Hi Leo, welcome to your July 2015 Tarotscope. First off, I'd like to thank everyone who has subscribed and commented and liked my videos. I really appreciate the feedback and the encouragement that I have gotten. And the other thing I wanted to kind of clarify a little bit is the idea of cards in reverse. Because there seems to be some people who read cards in reverse and others just read them upright. And I have some books that do not contain any kind of interpretation for reverse cards. My feeling is kind of mixed on this. On the one hand, I can understand that in a perfect world, if you have this deck, when you unwrap it, all the cards will be upright and you will be dealing them on a surface and they should be the way that they came out of the box. But we don't try to make them go upside down. They do it for whatever reason as we keep doing our readings. And because I believe in synchronicity, I think that these cards are doing what they're doing for a reason. Also, keep in mind that there are some cards that are actually more positive in their reversed position. So it can be a little bit silly at times to worry about whether or not a card is upright or not. I just picked for Sagittarius the Devil in reverse, and that is a modified version of this addictive tendency in somebody, this negative thinking pattern. It's actually, beginning to think positively. So the reason I say this, Leo, is because every card that I picked was in the reverse position. And that doesn't happen all that often. And before anyone freaks out and says, oh my God, July is going to really suck for me, just hear me out. This is what I think is going on. The first 3 weeks of July, you will have the sun in the 12th house, as well as some other planets. Okay? And likewise, for the last week of June, this is also the case. Having the sun in the 12th house means that your solar cycle is on its way. It's just about to start. And the 12th house is the last house. It deals with the unconscious. It's a very inner transit. It's going within. So it's not a time where it's suggested that we start new projects, but I don't like to say things like that because you don't want to get to the point where you're superstitious about stuff. And you have your own destiny that's apart from a general reading. And may I reiterate that this is just a general reading. If you want something that is tailored to your specific time of birth and actual birth date, birth year, please contact me at rainamoonastrology.webs.com. If you want something more specialized that I don't list in my services, just shoot me an email at rainamoonastrology@gmail.com and tell me what you're looking for. But in any case, I think that what this probably suggests is that July will be more of a contemplative month. It'll be more inner. To give an analogy that Leo might appreciate, it's like an actor waiting in the wings for his or her time to step on the stage in the spotlight. And that's what happens when the sun goes into your sign. Now, of course, depending on the degree, the date, it will go into your sign at various points in late July and during August. So even then, the sun isn't necessarily going to be in your sign, but still, you get the general idea of what I'm going for here. So the card that I picked as the overall influence that's coming in from late June for you, Leo, was the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And Remember that Pentacles deals with money and Aces are beginnings. So there might be something that you have been trying to get off the ground and it's not yet quite the time. And that's all good because you can make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. But the important thing to realize is that because you have 2 Pentacles out of 4 cards, that the money is still there. You might be feeling the doubt, and that's the thing to work on, not saying, is this viable or not? But whatever it is, if you have a new endeavor that relates to business in any way, make sure that everything is on point before you launch. I think, sometimes in the enthusiasm of the moment, we push things. We want to just get it started. I think that Leos are pretty good about this because, you guys have natural leadership abilities, and even on the organizational front, you might be very capable of getting everything in proper place. So that might not apply to you, but it's just a card that it's almost as if, your good is there. Your new beginnings with business and money-making endeavors are right there. There might be just this slight hindrance at the moment that is the timing needing to be exact. And so basically, don't be discouraged if you start to feel thwarted, because it's just a bump in the road and you're going to come out on top. Weaving in some of the astrological transits that are occurring in July. On July 1st, we have a full moon at 9 degrees Capricorn. This occurs at 9:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. And for you, Leo, this is your 6th house. So this is the house of health and the workplace, daily routines, and that sort of thing. So it really is one of the best times to start some kind of cleanse and diet and exercise routine. And also, if you are starting some new business, it's a great time to kind of look at time management. And then in the middle of the month on the 15th, we have a new moon in Cancer, 8:24 p.m. Central Standard Time at 23 degrees of Cancer. And for you, this is your 12th house. The 12th house is the most hidden house, and it's the unconscious part of us. So it's our dream life, our past lives. It's also the house of buried secrets that might come out at this time with the spotlight being on them. And whatever this is, it's a very emotional and spiritual time. Remember that Cancer is a water sign, so even though this is not a full moon, having any kind of moon in the 12th house is emotional, but it can also be rather unnerving or otherwise you could say otherworldly. So it's a great time for meditation. It's a great time for doing something that enhances your spirituality. Since it's a new moon, you might want to take up yoga, either hatha yoga, sitting meditation, something that is good for nourishing the part of you that is not the physical. And it's also interesting because Mars is in Cancer throughout July, and Mars and the 12th house don't really mix as far as energies go, because remember that Mars rules Aries. It also rules Scorpio, but totally Aries, and that Aries is the first house, rules the first house. So you have this very outer active energy in this very inner house. So there might be this sense of feeling thwarted when you try to express yourself physically. It's really a good time. I think it would be good to exercise during July. Uh, Even starting at the beginning of the month with the full moon in the 6th house, because you've got a lot of 12th house activity, and right before your birthday, it's just a good time to transmute or transfer that energy that is psychic into something physical to discharge it. So you might want to think about that. And so the card I picked for the first half of July for you, Leo, is the Two of Pentacles reversed. And, that's the juggler, and he's juggling 2 coins. It's very active in terms of earning money. In the reversed position, it might actually indicate that you have so much on your plate. The money might be rolling in, but it's just you trying to balance it all. And so it just reminds you that you need balance in your life. And as I said about that full moon at the very first day of the month, in that work sector, it's a good time to look at how do I allot time for different things that I'm doing and trying to achieve balance with it. Because even if you are doing great, with your business or your career, man cannot live by bread alone. You need to honor the other parts of you. And this might indicate that you're working long hours too, and maybe even more than one job. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself physically as well as spiritually, emotionally, and that you realize that this is probably just a temporary thing that's happening in July. Remember that Jupiter has been in your sign all year long, and it will continue to be in your sign until August 11th, and then it goes into your 2nd house. So I think that the next year after it transits into Virgo, you will continue to experience really great income possibilities from the money that you earn, and you might even come up with great ideas on how to bring in more income. So this is a busy time for you. It's not a bad time, it's a busy time. So just remember that. Other transits that are occurring on the 8th of the month, we have Mercury in Gemini going into Cancer, and this is your 12th house again. So you're going to have this mental activity in this house, and you should definitely pay attention to the kind of thoughts that you have during the 2nd week of July until the 23rd, when it goes into your own sign. Because during those 2 weeks, you might have some wonderful ideas. It's great for creative inspiration, that sort of thing. Be careful that you do not allow anxiety to take over your life. When you know this in advance, it's a lot easier to overcome it. The sun enters your sign on the 22nd of July, so that's nice. That's beginning your new solar cycle. And we have Saturn at 20 degrees Scorpio in retrograde, and this is happening in your 4th house. So if you can remember when Saturn was in Scorpio several months ago for 2.5 years, and think about how your relationship with your family of origin or the family that you have right now has been, you might begin to see if there are any issues that you're going to have to revisit while it is traveling through your 4th house in retrograde. Uranus has been in Aries for several years, and it is retrograding on the 26th of July, and this is your 9th house, which is the house of publishing. With Uranus in retrograde there, you could have some kind of a bestseller that you never even thought was a possibility. I was just reading about a woman who was a college professor for 2 decades, and she happened to publish a novel in her 50s, and it became one of Oprah's books and ended up being made into a movie called Home is Where the Heart Is. So anything can happen. Venus is in your sign and will go into Virgo on the 19th of the month, which is that second house. It is a time when you may want to spend money on luxury items. Just be aware that it's going retrograde on July 25th, and it will be retrograde at 0 degrees Virgo in that second house. And it's recommended that people do not buy luxury items, but big ticket items at the time of a Venus retrograde. Again, I say use your intuition, decide what's best for you. Obviously, if there's some wonderful opportunity, you want to take advantage of that if it feels right to you. But in general, Venus in retrograde means that you could come in contact with someone from the past that you had a relationship with, but it doesn't have to necessarily be a romantic one. But until the 19th, with Venus and Jupiter in that first house, you're absolutely irresistible, Leo. But you knew that, didn't you? I think you would agree with me that you're always irresistible. The card that I picked for the second half of July for you was the Fool in reverse. And we see when it's in its upright position, the person with the knapsack ready to step out into the unknown. In its reverse position, it may point to some concerns that you have. You're not feeling confident or having faith in a new journey, a new phase in life. So this is bringing it up for you and saying, what are your fears? What are you so afraid of that you can't step out in faith? And Leo is a positive sign, not just because you're a fire sign, but because you're the sun. The sun card in the Tarot is one of the most positive, and the reason it's so is because it's connected to astrology. I do think, since I picked it in the second half, that this does connect to the sun going into your sign. So as you go into your solar return, ask yourself, am I thinking thoughts that will serve me? And when you have these planets clustered in the 12th house, even for the most positive of signs, it's really like a psychic house cleaning. And it doesn't mean that, oh, you've become a negative person. It's really clearing. And the clearing is making room for something new to occur. All that cosmic debris needs to be swept away. And this is why I do recommend that you use the time of the new moon in the middle of the month as a chance to start a new cycle with your spiritual life and learning to tune into your higher self through meditation. The overall card that I got for you, Leo, was the Queen of Swords in reverse. Now, queens are often linked to a mother or a mother figure or someone in authority who is a woman. In its upright position, the sword aspect of it indicates that this woman will be an air sign, either a Gemini, a Libra, or Aquarian. She is very curt. She's very intelligent, but there's a coldness to her. In the reverse position, she can be a snark machine. Catty, gossipy, cuts you to the quick, uses words like a weapon, so verbally abusive. If this is not your mother, this could be a female boss. This person may figure into your life in July for some reason. It could be somebody that is actually related to you because, you know, remember that you have that Saturn in the 4th house, so it could relate to your family of origin. Revisiting some old wound that needs to be healed. If this is not an actual person in your life that you can think of, make sure that it's not yourself, because, you know, this could apply to you if you are a female or if you're a male who has a lot of feminine energy. Don't be behaving in a rude, snarky way to people. Sarcasm is a biggie. Of course, that's what snark is, right? So remember, you know, when I say that this person features in, there's a lesson. That's the crux of the reading, is that these characters that we encounter in this incarnation are all part of the cosmic play. Because, as you know, this life is temporary, and when it's over with, we will see that we were so much more than we thought we were. Hopefully you can discover that about yourself in the flesh. But regardless, the drama that is life is what makes it so frustrating and upsetting, but also so beautiful. And then to cap off the month, Leo, on the 31st of the month, we have a blue moon, which is the second full moon in a month, in Aquarius, which is the sign opposite you, your 7th house, and it occurs at 5:43 a.m., and it's at 7 degrees of Aquarius. And so relationships are highlighted. This could be a time when a platonic relationship is taken to the next level. You realize, oh wow, I'm in love with this person. It could be some kind of business partnership that's getting off the ground, or some kind of legal matter that's coming to a head. But I like that we have full moons as bookends for the month of July. I think that with the sun being in Cancer, it will be a very emotional month, having 2 full moons and all. But that's okay, you know? So I hope you enjoyed your reading, Leo. I'll be back in a couple of weeks to give you your August forecast. Until then, guys, take care.